Steven, you teased the audience last episode. What happened when you tried to get your passport?
I teased the audience.
You did.
All right. So this was
start with a little story.
This was 20. I think it might have been 2016 or 2017. We were going to England, and I realized, oh, I can't find my passport. Like, I can't find it. And it's been, I think the trip was less than a month away, right? Okay. Less than a month. So we had to get the passport expedited.
Yeah.
My dad paid a whole bunch of money. Got the picture taken like 3 days before I left on the trip. Managed to get it in time, or however long. It was like a week before the trip. Managed to get the passport in time.
Okay.
And everything was all good. And, as time went on, like, obviously my dad was pissed about it. And as time went on, and I still haven't even told my mom this, when I moved, and I ended up finding my passport. And the one that I was searching for that entire time, I was like, oh. So I put my parents through hell just to help me get this expedited passport. And it turns out that I didn't need it in the first place. All I needed to do was maybe search a little harder for it.
Where did it end up being?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Good question.
But if you looked hard enough, you would be able to find it easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Like beforehand. I don't know if I have it now. I think I got rid of it.
Well, yeah, I'm going kind of through the same situation. Not the same situation. Actually, it's nothing like that at all. I haven't had my passport since I was a baby. I went with my mom to Indonesia because my aunt was living over there.
Indonesia?
Yep. I've been talking about it on the show, and people are like, what the hell was your aunt doing over there? I was like, it was just for work.
Okay.
Her husband worked like overseas, and it was the whole thing. But yeah, we went to go visit them, and I got my passport, and I haven't left the country since then. So now to get on a fucking flight, you need your real ID or you need a passport. So just to make sure I'm covered on all bases, I have scheduled an appointment this Saturday, actually, at 10 a.m. or 11 to go to the DMV, and hopefully that's an easy process. Although I've heard stories where people schedule appointments to go to the DMV for the real IDs, and then they don't have an appointment. Right. So you best believe I'm going to check ahead of time. But a week from yesterday, I will have an appointment to go get my passport. So I'm hoping that I could do all that shit, expedite it, and I'll be good to go to see my mom in Florida in July.
Well, I think you'll be okay. You caught it early, but the fact that you haven't had a passport since you were a baby is a little alarming.
Why is that alarming? I haven't left the country. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. It's just like, get a passport, dude. They're always handy to have.
I know they're handy to have, especially now when you can't just get on a plane with your good old driver's license. Like, what have we become as a society when that's not good enough anymore?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they did warn us for a while. Though.
I know they did. I know.
For a long time. And
I just got lazy.
I was told I still haven't got it, so I'm not gonna act like I was like ahead of schedule, like compared to everyone else. No, I'm just as late as everyone, but they did warn us for a really long time, and it kind of just snuck up on us. I can't imagine what it would look like in the airport. It must have looked like hell with people just not even knowing. What do you mean a real ID? What's that? It's like that thing that the DMV has sent you every year when you're getting the registration for your car, or I think they send you like a notice every 6 months. By the way, a real ID, make sure you get one. It's that thing that they're talking.
I know. I always glanced at it and never really knew what the hell was going on. And then this year, someone explained to me, like, dude, you can't get on a plane without a real ID. Now, I think you can. I think you can get on a plane. It's just going to be a bitch to get on the plane. So
Yeah.
worst case scenario, get either thing. I'm going to show up really early to the airport and just have every form of identification I can find and just make the whole process as easy as possible.
There you go.
But hopefully we don't have to go down that road.
Mhm.
All right, just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Look who's here. Rocco New Era, AJ Cruz. Ready to talk some schedule, baby. Oh, yeah. We'll get to it a little later. Let's talk about the Warriors and their season ending. And no surprise, last night, I don't even feel like talking about the game. I know it was 117, 110. T-Wolves advance for their second consecutive Western Conference Finals appearance. But, yeah, Warriors, I mean, I think we knew it was going to be hard without Steph Curry. And I was hoping they get one game, and that one game would have been game 3, but they let that slip, and it sucks. And what's really painful is you never want to lose in the playoffs because of injuries. Injuries, you know, and especially not to have Steph. So, yeah, it's going to be a long off season, and Steph Curry talked about it today with how little time he has remaining in his career. You know, you want to capitalize on the time you have left. So they're going to probably run it back with the same crew of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Or there's already reports out there that they're going to do a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga. And we'll see if that comes to fruition. I think that a lot of people think that his market's going to be robust. And we talked to Bobby Marks today, and he doesn't think it's going to be just because he flashed in a few playoff games. So there could be still an opportunity for Jonathan Kuminga to remain on the team. But let's just start with this question, Stephen. Had Steph been healthy, do you think they would have won this series?
Yeah. Yep. I am fully confident they would have. It would have opened stuff up for everyone else. And we talked about it on the last pod, but just the subconscious confidence that you have knowing that number 30 is on the floor and he could be there to save the day and no deficit is too small to overcome. Like, I think mentally the Warriors just would have been in a much better place. So without Steph, and I think they knew that the hamstring injury was a lot worse than we thought. Like, even game 6 was probably a question in their mind when it happened. So they're like, dude, we got to win this series without him. And I think after game 3, and Kerr mentioned this after the game, and I agree. He mentioned it after game 5. He said game 3 was the key. It's like we had a 6-point lead in the fourth quarter. We had a chance to win that one game that we needed to win, and we didn't. And we tricked it away. And then obviously the Timberwolves blew them out in the last 2 games. However, I am skeptical because I immediately answered that saying yes, unequivocally, yes. But I do wonder if the lack of Jimmy Butler's aggression would have made a difference with Steph being on the floor. Like, Steph was at his best when Butler was fully healthy. But as we learned after game 5, yeah, that gluteal muscle contusion, or as we heard from Gary St. Jean on KCBS this morning, that old gluteus maximus, it was still in a lot of best part of my day.
Classic Saintly.
Yeah, that it's just I knew
Oh,
exactly.
you know what, Steven? He fell on his butt. What are you gonna do? He got it right in the keister, I tell you.
He landed right on his keister, and that's not easy to come back from. But the fact that he shot like 20 shots, attempted 20 shots in these last 2 games, when that's what he should have been averaging for the remainder of this series, I do wonder about that. But to answer your question, yes, I do think they would have won it had Steph been healthy. Just that shot that it's not even just like the fact that it was the hamstring and it was really a non-contact injury, but it happened on the shot that made you think, oh, they got this. Like, this is going to be a different series than the one against the Rockets. Like, just, I don't know if it was the arc of the shot, the moves. I think it was it McDaniels covering him or was it Alexander Walker?
Probably McDaniels.
I think it was McDaniels. And with McDaniels draped all over him, and he hits like a moonshot that almost hits the roof of the the Toyota Center.
No, it's whatever it is. Toyota Center's in Houston.
That's right. Well, God damn it. What's the other one? Anyway, but it almost hits the roof of that arena and it goes right in. You're thinking, oh, yeah. But then he's obviously limping after that. Just sucks, man. It really sucks. In hindsight's 2020. And I know, and I'm sure Mr. Dan Dibley, who is obviously on the other side of the competition in Bay Area radio, but I'm sure because you were doing a show, you probably didn't hear it. But I'm sure he went through the 5 stages of grief, 5 stages of sports grief that he usually does after a loss like this. And yes, we are in the number 1 stage, which is denial. And that part of the denial is, oh yeah, the Warriors would have won this with Steph, like no doubt. And I think that's the stage that we're all at right now.
I think it sucks. It definitely pains you when you lose because of injury, especially when it's your best player. But I can't say equivocally that they would have won this series had Steph Curry been healthy. I think that, and I even picked against the Warriors in the first place. I think that it would have been a longer series. Obviously, I think they would have at least gone to Game 6, probably a Game 7. But it was cut short, and offensively, they were just inept. I mean, they were terrible.
Right.
And no rhythm, no flow. Buddy Hield wasn't the same player. Brandon Podziemski, he wasn't good the whole playoffs. Last night he was better. So was Jonathan Kuminga. But really, they have no, I don't know, just like they didn't scare anybody offensively. They would have these. They were great defensively for mostly like a first half of a game, and then the Minnesota Timberwolves would stop messing around. Chris Finch would call them out and say you're playing like losers, and then they would turn it on. So I think that Steph Curry probably would have had bigger offensive performances, but I think it would have been pretty even. And I can't say 100% that the Warriors still would have won this series. I mean, at the end of the day, Julius Randle still took Draymond Green to school.
Yeah.
So it was going to be tough, but they would have had a fighting shot. They would have won at least one of these games at home. It would have had a Game 6 on Sunday. Who knows if they got to a Game 7? But I can't say 100% that they were going to win without Steph. And Steph, said today everything was lined up for me to return for a Game 6. I don't know if I buy that 100%. I think that he would have tried his damnedest to come back. But I think Rick Celebrini would probably been like, dude, let's try one more game. Like if they need you for a Game 7, come out there. Mm-hmm. But think about this, man. You're 37 years old. If you tear that hamstring, you are totally fucked for next season too. And we can't have that. You want to win a championship, right? Yeah. And honestly, I said this today and people chew my head off on the text line about this, but I don't really give a damn. There's a part of me that was kind of like, I am kind of glad it's over because I didn't want yes, you want the Warriors to win. And I know I sound like I'm being ridiculous right now, but a part of me was also like, I don't want a repeat of KD. And not that was going to happen to that extent, but also just like, let's just end it. I don't think they're going to win the championship. Minnesota is a good team. Let's regroup. Let's try to get younger. Let's try to figure things out. Just playing every other day, it's a problem for them. And I know that Jimmy Butler today said, I think people make too much stuff at this age, the age conversation. It's a big deal. It is. Like not many championships are won when your 3 core players are 37, 35, and 35. Something needs to be done. And I know a lot of people's answer is Kuminga. Let's have Kuminga be the star of the team. I don't see it that way. I think that this conversation is going to go on and on and on until July when we can make trades. And it's going to divide the fan base that's already divided. I hate that we're like this. I remember 10 years ago, this is the one team in the Bay Area that brought us all together. We were all divided as A's and Giants fans or Raiders and Niners fans. The Warriors fans all came together because it didn't matter if you were from San Francisco or in Oakland. You all just loved each other. And for the first, through a couple of years of the championship, it was all just like, all right, we got Kevin Durant. This is fucking awesome. We got the greatest basketball team in the world. Now with 4 championships, there's expectations and there's demand on social media and people that are calling out Steve Kerr, like this guy, Jim Park, who called him a charlatan or whatever, whatever he called him today. I thought it was like, what? Charlatan, that's it. like an old
Yeah.
like 1950s terminology. What the hell are we doing here?
Jim Park has
It's
proven
saying
that he
that
doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's done that for the past few years. He thinks Kerr's trying to sabotage Steph's career. I blocked that dude out a long time ago. And if they ever see this, they'll probably look at it and say, "Look, see, I'm getting under their skin." It's sorry, dude. Like, yeah, I don't need to see any of what you have to say. Like, I don't care. So that's where I'm at with that. Sorry.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I don't even know who he is or who he writes for or who exactly what everything he's about, but like he seems to be the biggest Steve Kerr hater out there.
Oh yeah.
But now it's just like why are we questioning this guy? I just don't, I know like I come across sometimes as like I'm totally outraged of the Steve Kerr outrage, but I just find it baffling because the guy, how could you hate him? I just don't understand, and I think that there's so many articles that have been written in the last couple of days here. Marcus Thompson and Anthony Slater had a great one today, just detailing what they're going to do this offseason. And most likely they are going to do a sign and trade with Jonathan Kuminga. But then at the same time, Joe Lacob talks so glowingly about him, and he wants to get younger, and he sees him being the next star once Steph retires. Then on the flip side, you see Logan Murdoch, right, in the Ringer, how what we all guessed, what we all saw that game in Portland when Steph threw his hands up, like, what the fuck are you doing, Kuminga? Steve Kerr was incensed because he was blowing off drawn up plays for Steph where he would just take the ball up the court. So, just back to the main question. Do I think they would have won this series with Steph being healthy? Yeah, they would have probably had a good shot. And Steve seemed to think that way last night. He was going to, be rude about Minnesota winning the series. Him and Draymond took the high road and said, no, you got to give credit to Minnesota. But yeah, we would have probably had a good shot. So we'll talk about the offseason, and it's going to become nauseating, I think, to a degree. There's reports today that they want to go all in on kind of improving the guard play and centers. I don't think that Giannis is on the table. Does it sound like they're going down that road, or Kevin Durant? But they need to. They're going to go forward with Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, and I think the supporting cast will be to be determined. But I don't think that just because Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody and a lot of these young guys had their moment in the sun when it came to playoff experience, and they didn't play very well. I don't think that should be an indictment 100% that they should move on from them.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack from that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I was all over the place there.
But to get to the Steve Kerr thing, I think it's just this notion that fans have, and I don't really blame them for this, but fans can't do anything about it. They are helpless, so they just look for the first person to blame. And because Jonathan Kuminga had a couple of good games, a few good scoring games, then it's like, well, what the hell was Steve Kerr doing? Why was Steve Kerr keeping him on the bench? Steve Kerr rotations. He's using all these players. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? And at the very end of the day, it's because Steph was hurt. Like, Steph is what makes this whole thing work. And I think that's really what we have to look at there, because towards the end of the season, they were first and second in the league in offense and defense, respectively. Like, they had success. They were finding what worked. Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody and Quentin Post looked like totally different players. They were no-shows for this entirety of this playoff. Excuse me, I burped in the middle of that sentence. There were no-shows for the entirety of this playoff except for Game 5 when Pajemski showed up. But Moody kind of looked clueless out there. Quentin Post, you could tell the confidence was off in his shot. Like, he's such a rhythm shooter. It's like he gets his feet set. He normally knocks him down, but even when he was getting his feet set, like last night when he first got into the game, I think he had an open three from the corner, and he just misses it on front iron. Like, this was a weird series, and I'm not sitting here telling you that Steve Kerr's totally immune to criticism, if you want to put it that way. I'm seeing a lot of he sits players whenever they start to get hot, but I kind of look at that as, well, he's saving players. I'd like to ask those people who are critical of Steve Kerr to ask him those questions at the podium. Ask them during a post-game press conference and see what answer you get. I think they'd be surprised just how much he would school those people
Yeah.
due to those decisions. And we don't know the inner workings of what goes on with the Warriors. We don't know what goes on day to day in the practice room, what they're seeing, what the coaching staff is deciding. So I just think we always use those guys as scapegoats. All of a sudden, Draymond Green, his history is coming up to pass because he did not guard Julius Randle. And now all of a sudden we're talking about this guy who should win Defensive Player of the Year to, oh, this is the guy who's holding us back from winning another championship. It's just nonstop. It's always finding something to blame. And I actually thought and I know we'll get to Kuminga in a while, but I thought the game plan was pretty interesting last night. Look, at least not from the Warriors standpoint, but more from the Timberwolves standpoint. Did you notice that Kuminga was just getting a lot of one-on-one situations? He is awesome in that. Like, he can beat any player one-on-one. Like, if this was instead of an NBA basketball game where it's 5-on-5, instead if this was like a game to 21, he'd probably win like 4 times out of 5 if he was just doing individual one-on-one matchups. But it felt like the Timberwolves were just letting them go one-on-one because they know he's not going to pass the ball. So they're just going to guard the 3-point line and not let them get any open shots. And they say, you know what? If Kuminga scores, we can live with a 2. We'll find a way to get ourselves an open 3. And that's what the Warriors have been doing ever since Steph Curry came along. They realized, hey, 3 points is better than 2. And eventually that math will fall into our favor if we make enough 3-pointers. And the Timberwolves ended up shooting 60% from the field last night. So even though the stats looked awesome, I'm not trying to take away from Kuminga's talent. I'm saying I think the Timberwolves wanted him to do that. I think they were totally fine if he was going to be the guy because it felt like possession after possession, Kuminga just took the ball and just did whatever he wanted, even though there were a couple of sick plays. There was the one where he went in for the driving dunk, a couple of layups, a couple of and ones, but he wasn't dumping the ball off to anyone else. No one else was a threat offensively besides him. And I think that's exactly the way the Timberwolves wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to what I was talking about the other day with Steve Kerr talking to Kevin Durant, being like, you're scoring right now, but you're not helping everybody else around you. And I think that's just Kuminga's game where he sees an opportunity to score himself. He has to do it all himself, and that's just not how the Warriors play basketball. So I agree, Steve, and I think it was the Timberwolves being like, you can go score all you want, Kuminga, but we're going to score more because we got 3-point shooters. And once the Warriors became more one-dimensional in their ISO game, that's where they became less lethal offensively. And I think that's where Jimmy Butler, I will say this, he was a fantastic addition, and they went on this fantastic run where, was it 23-8? And they went from being a 10th seed to a 7th seed. You know, down the stretch, things were bad towards the regular season with losses to San Antonio and the last game of the year against the Clippers. But he was a difference maker. Now, is he going to be playoff Jimmy? I don't think so anymore. I think that he is definitely a number 2, and he's going to be the sidekick to Steph going forward. So if we're anticipating him to be this amazing guy like he was with Miami, I think there's a reason why Pat Riley didn't give him a contract. So it just is coming with age. And I also know he was hurt and he was sick. There's a lot of factors in this thing. But Steph not being there showed the deficiencies in this team, and I saw them before Steph got hurt. But I think also at the same time, I'm maybe just kind of going overboard, I'm overloading just, the amount of problems with the Warriors because Steph wasn't there. But when you look at the season, Steven, would you say this was a success or not?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say overall. They were 1 game below 500 before the trade deadline. Yep. And they managed to get this far. And they beat the Rockets in 7 games. I'd say it was a success. Had they been bounced out of the play-in, like that's when I would have called it a failure. And even the early round, like the first, I probably would have been out on that too. Like the conference quarterfinal, like, yeah, probably. But the fact that they made it this far, I'd consider it a success just because we didn't really think much of this team in the way that we were talking about them. I think that'd be contradictory to say that it wasn't a success. But I am concerned that they think they can do this with their core because I took a look at the oldest teams in the NBA to win a championship, at least the oldest cores, and none of them were 38. A guy turning 38, their superstar. Jimmy Butler, who will turn, I think, 36, and then Draymond Green as well. Do you know how old Michael Jordan was in that last dance year in 98 when they won the title?
I could guess. Hang on. So I'm gonna say 35.
He was 35 years old.
Yep.
He was 35, and he was, besides Dennis Rodman, Rodman was 37, but Rodman was purely a rebounder. Like you look at The Last Dance, and you just, for whatever reason, the previous generation, those guys just look older than we do. Like,
Rodman's older than Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Rodman was born in 61. Jordan was born in 63.
All right.
But the cores, like the oldest player to win a championship, at least that was part of a core, was Jason Kidd with the Mavericks. He was
40,
just about to reach 39 at that time.
Okay.
So you need three, but also he wasn't the top player. Like Dirk was the guy, and that was a young Dirk. So I am a little worried about the age thing, but this is also what happens after you win 4 championships and you turn into a dynasty. And also you draft poorly. Joe Lacob can do what he wants to build up the draft picks. The drafts have been terrible. Yeah. Well, not terrible, but they've been pretty darn bad. Like I don't know how you can say anything else other than that. Like that James Wiseman pick, I'm always going to look back at that one. I don't blame them for picking him at the time. Everyone was high on Wiseman, but it was the wrong pick, and it could have gone a variety of avenues. Jonathan Kuminga is a really, really talented player, but you see other guys from that draft who are having a little bit more of a team-wide impact as opposed to him. Maybe they could have gone a different direction there. I don't know. That's to me is also in the denial stage of this grieving process now that the season is over. We had great drafts. I don't know why everyone craps all over them, because they didn't really pan out. Not a lot of them. Maybe a couple of picks here and there. Who? I mean, Brandon Pajemski, the jury's still out on him. I think the experience will be a good thing moving forward.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like that, you're using the argument with Kuminga being like 22 years old. He's only 22. I'd say the same thing for Pajemski. They're both 22. Maybe they do have promising futures, but Pajemski is only in his second year in the league. Kuminga's been here for 4 years now.
Yeah.
So but what was the original question?
Was the season a success?
Yeah, I'd say it was a success. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm asking these questions, but there's so many jumping off points for the Warriors conversation. So whatever comes to mind, just blurt it out. I'm with that today because this is it. This is the end. So everything that's on our mind until we get to free agency, this is what we'll get to today. But I would say it was a success as well, because going into the season, I mean, we saw Clay leave, and they got Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, and Kyle Anderson, and I was like, that's not the usual sexy Warriors offseason, which, you can't expect that every season. But going into the season, I thought they'd just be a play-in team, at best. And then they started 12-3, like, oh, you get your hopes up a little bit. And then they lost, I believe, 23 of their next 36 games.
Yeah, then Melton got hurt.
Anthony Melton tore his ACL. Steph, how many press conferences did we break down where Steph looked like he wanted to get the fuck out of here? And he never was going to, never demand a trade, but he looked like, I can't deal with this shit. And I'll never forget Anthony Slater asking him, how do you fix this offense? And he goes, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then it turned into the Twitter fingers thing. And I think I was on here with you after Luka got traded and De'Aaron Fox. And I was like, I don't know what they could do that can match that. So I would say just roll into the rest of the season with this roster and just plan for the future. And that didn't happen. They made an aggressive trade to get Jimmy Butler that I wasn't a fan of in the moment, and it turned out to be fantastic. So yeah, it was a success from where they were as the 10th seed, probably not going to make the play-in altogether, to be the 7th team in the West, to having a conversation at one point of, are they going to be possibly the 3rd, 4th best team in the West? Could they be championship contenders? Draymond thought that. maybe a little bit too confident in that opinion. But
Hmm.
yeah, they became a hell of a lot better. But they became
Yeah.
a really good regular season team, and then they got the best of a inexperienced Rockets team. I think it's very similar to 3 years ago against the Lakers. They beat a young and up and coming team in the Kings, and then played a Laker team that just were more physical than them. And in this time around, Minnesota is a really good team, but also Steph Curry got hurt. And yeah, when you play 7 games and then you play every other day for a series, the next round, Steph's bound to get hurt. And that's my next question is, what's the biggest thing you want to see change this offseason? And to me, I said this last night, the age really does scare me. And at one point, I think I said this, whatever trade deadline it was, I was cool just honestly kind of just doing a rebuild and around Steph. Trade away who you want, trade Draymond, trade Clay, and that time has passed. They need to win a championship in these next 2 seasons. So now it's, can you win a championship with these 3 guys, as Charles Barkley said, these 3 old guys? And it's going to be tough with how
Okay,
young the
real
West is.
quick,
Yeah, go for it.
Barkley's analysis is bothering me now. Like the bias
Oh,
is
of all the times for it to bother you, now it does?
yes, the bias is truly coming through. At first, it seemed funny that he's like, kind of crapping on San Francisco, pun intended, because of the actual crap. And I sometimes thought it was tongue in cheek, and I thought he was kind of leaning into the character. But after the Cavs get eliminated and he's blaming the injuries, and the only thing he could say before he actually begins his point is, that Max Strus is a handsome man. You ever seen Max Strus? Handsome. Good looking player. Like, and then the first thing you say about the Warriors is, oh, those old guys, they're too old. I mean, I don't think he's totally wrong. Like, I think because Steph is kind of superhuman, we don't think that the age is ever going to catch up to him. But even the Warriors, I think, are going to accept that, and they might just be enjoying it from this stage. They've done everything they can, as far as championships. Would they want to get Steph ring number 5? Of course. Would they want to get that for Draymond? Of course. But look, man, this is the most obvious statement in the world. It is so damn hard to win a championship. And the fact that they've actually done it 4 times is remarkable. And more often than not, there are these teams that just lose. Like, honestly, I feel a lot better about being a Warriors fan right now as opposed to being like a Lakers fan, because you still lost in the first round. You may have Luka Doncic, but you still lost in the first round with LeBron. And what are you going to do? You're just going to turn into another version of the Mavericks where you got to wait 5 years to build a contending team around him. I think their head coach, JJ Redick, I think he got exposed this postseason. Like, I'd feel a lot better about the Warriors than I would about the Lakers. If I was a Laker fan, I wouldn't feel good at all. I don't know what they could do.
I don't know. I don't know about that one, just because Luca is for the next generation.
That might be a bad take.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like with the Warriors, I'm like, who's that next guy? And everybody keeps saying they want it to be Kuminga, but I don't think that's in the cards. It's just not.
Yeah.
So
see, that's if we had a text line, that's where Steven, what the hell are you talking about, would be coming in. The Lakers have Luka. The Warriors do not.
Yeah. Steven, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. Shams Charania, ESPN. You know this guy. Everyone knows this guy.
Familiar with him.
Slick back hair. Got a little work to do on TV, but he's getting there. Shams, Warriors.
Shams Charania joining us now with much more. Shams, what options do the Warriors have here this summer to retool this roster for another run next season with Steph and Draymond?
Kevin, the Golden State Warriors have up to 4 future first-round picks they can trade. They have tradable contracts, pick swaps as well. Sources told me in the last few hours the Warriors will be incredibly aggressive in the marketplace to go find help, to continue to retool around their big 3 of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. I'm told their priority is finding a playmaking wing defender or a center to add to this group. And a lot of it will come down to someone that Steve Kerr and the big 3 feel like will help this team and fits their culture and their identity. But one key player to keep an eye on this roster right now is forward Jonathan Kuminga. I'm told he's going to have a strong sign and trade market coming up. He's an exciting young wing player. Both sides are expected to have conversations commencing over the next several weeks ahead of free agency to see, is there a potential sign and trade landing spot that gives him a lucrative deal while also potentially bringing the Warriors some additional help for their roster. So both sides end up as winners in this.
All right. So that was a nice appearance. Solid
Yeah.
work.
No, I
Solid work.
mean,
little cadence because it's like need a wing defender. Practice the breath, Shams.
he learned from the best in Woj.
Yeah. It's just the same conversation that we're always having, though, isn't it? Well, they need another wing player who can guard and maybe shoot the 3 and D player. We also need a center, a big who can actually speak. Yeah, it's the same thing every year.
I know.
What I do want to see a center. Like naturally, I do want to see a center because unless you have a guy by the name of Kevin Durant on your team, you can get away with not having like the typical Andrew Bogut type. But I think having one would do wonders for this team. And I don't know which player that is. Again, I'm still very much in the denial stage of this process. Shout out to Dibs. I really am in the denial stage. I haven't even looked at what they could do. I'm just kind of like, season's over. Let's just calm down a little bit. The Kuminga thing, it'll have legs until it doesn't. Like, there's always going to be more reports out there. There's going to be rumors that this team's interested, that team's interested. The only thing, and I'm kind of open to hearing all of it. The only thing, Derek, that I'm not open to hearing, I am not ready for the Giannis rumors. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Has anyone actually looked at, because you heard it from Brian Windhorst, if anyone watched it on ESPN, but I'm going to try and save this, Derek, but the reason why the Warriors probably aren't going to go after him is because, among a variety of reasons, because the Bucks just don't have any draft picks. Are you ready for me to read this off? Because I'm not even going to try and save it. I'm just going to read it.
Read it, baby.
All right. So from the Drew Holiday trade, okay? They had the 2025 draft, which is coming up, and I think they already traded that pick, and it's gonna be New Orleans. I don't even know which one. The 2025 pick, it's not theirs. They don't have a 2025 pick. The 2026 pick is unprotected, swap to the New Orleans Pelicans. 2027 is unprotected to the Hawks or Pelicans because of a trade featuring DeJounte Murray and Dyson Daniels and Larry Nance Jr. And then an unprotected Lakers first in 2025. So the Bucks have like this top 4 protected pick, and that's really it. And from the Dame trade, 2028 unprotected swap to the Blazers. 2029 unprotected pick to the Blazers. 2030 unprotected swap to the Blazers. So what you're looking at is if you do trade draft picks, then those draft picks are either going to the Pelicans or the Blazers. And that's not going to do the Bucks any good. So you're going to have to trade. You maybe need a top 5 pick because there's one that's top 4 protected. You need a top 5 pick, and then you maybe need to then you maybe need to trade a bunch of players involved with that.
You okay?
And the Warriors don't fit there. No, I'm good.
Well, go ahead. Speak to share with the class. It's okay.
I can't share this with share this with the class.
All right, fine. I'll find out after the show.
I can't. I'm sorry. I don't want to embarrass this person I don't want to call this person out on the podcast.
All right, fair enough. But you kind of want to now.
I do. I can't.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Well, God damn it, Steven. You might as well do it now.
Can't do it. I can't.
All right.
I can't.
I guess we'll never know why Steven just started laughing uncontrollably.
This is someone that's known within all of our circles, so I do not want to stir the pot Just
Fine.
let the pot stir itself. I don't wanna add to
No
it.
pot stirring. I hear you.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry. I know that's really annoying, but it just popped up and it really distracted me.
Okay.
Point is,
Yes.
the Bucks barely have any of their picks in the future, so they want good players and maybe a top 5 pick from this year. I'd actually say watch out for I'd say watch out for the Spurs. Like I think the Spurs with that I think they're done
To
picking.
get Giannis.
Yeah, I think so. I'd say
Yeah.
watch for them in this potentially trade a bunch of their players. I don't even know. Maybe Stephon Castle would be involved in that. I don't know.
That's what I would think. Yeah. Just talk about what Bobby Marks today. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think there's any possible way for the Warriors to get Giannis. I think that you basically have to trade Draymond and Jimmy to get him. And why would the Bucks want to take those players on right now?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's feasible. I think that would be a dream for Steph Curry, but it's just not the same. Like one person called in today was like, "You do that move, it's like getting Kevin Durant again." I'm like, Kevin Durant was a free agent. It was easier to acquire. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with Giannis. So what do I want to see happen? Honestly, with the exception of trading Steph Curry away or giving Jonathan Kuminga an extension, I am open to anything. And yes, that does include trading Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler for something bigger. If you're able to do that and you get a superstar, a younger superstar, I would do that deal. Because I have my doubts about them winning a championship with this core. And I know that they're great players, and there'll be times in the regular season where we're like, damn, they still got something left. And then when the postseason rolls around, it's like, oh man, they look a little slow and old. It's happened the last 2 years or 3 years, honestly. It's happened against the Lakers. It's happened against the last year in the playing game against the Sacramento Kings, and I saw it this whole postseason run. Even against the Rockets, they looked old at times, especially against the Timberwolves. They did. But yeah, as far as like everything they said, I agree. You need to get a wing defender. You need to get a another guy that could shoot. They need more shooting. Like, I think it was time for Klay Thompson to leave, but also you miss him in that regard because Buddy Hield was definitely hit or miss. And there's guys out there you can look at, maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malcolm Brogdon. Those are older players. Oh, Tim Hardaway Jr. is a little younger, but as far as centers, I mean, Miles Turner's the big name. I don't think they can afford him. Brooke Lopez was a name that Bobby Marks was throwing out there today on ESPN. I know. I mean, getting older too. Steven Adams. I love Steven Adams, but he's older. It really would be an older team.
It's 2021 all over again. It's the 2021 offseason all over again, with exception to the sign and trade Kuminga part. Oh, they need another wing player. Oh, they need another defender. Someone else. Another center. Get me a center. Finally. Maybe we can get this guy at the buyout market. Oh man. I mean, who's been a classic one? I mean, Dennis Schroeder's come and gone. That was always a classic buyout.
Yeah.
Fans wanted. So that one's over with. Yeah, I think if you had to go next on the list of buyout guys, Brooke Lopez would be that. Hey, he could shoot the three. He'd fit really well in this Warrior system because we all know.
But that's not what they need right now. Like you need a stretch five. I think you have that in Quentin Post, a guy that not reliable in defense. But I just need somebody that's going to get buckets. Just be a rim protector and just have a physical presence. And let's be real, we all love Loon Dog. I think his time is coming to an end. He's a free agent along with GP2. I do believe with how much we love Kevon Looney, and he'll probably be more beloved than Andrew Wiggins in the grand scheme of things. But it's time. I think so. Well, I think that go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that name because I think the reason that we are in this position in the first place is because they haven't found an impactful postseason player since Kevon Looney in 2015 in the draft. Like you can make that argument. And if you go back and look at 2022, Kuminga was great against the Grizzlies, but for the rest of the playoffs, they've been to the playoffs, for other years too. Once before that, and then another time after that, at least just in the play-in. But Kuminga didn't really do much. Moses Moody was great, but really that 2022 championship run was because I guess you could say Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole was massive obviously. So I guess Jordan Poole would be that one in that regard. So that's my bad. But even so, he's not on the team anymore. Like, look at all these players they found at least post Steph Curry. Klay Thompson, Draymond, Festus, Harrison Barnes, Kevon Looney, Damian Jones, blah. That's where it gets ugly. Damian Jones, Jacob Evans, Eric Paschall, Justinian Jessup, Nico Mannion, James Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, Baldwin, Tyrese Martin, whatever, Guy Santos, Pajemski, and then Post. I don't know. It's just
They haven't drafted well.
They have not. And at least, I mean, when they've had draft picks, they haven't drafted well. Like, obviously, 2023, you want more than just a first-round pick. And second-round picks are more just a lottery than anything else, like a literal lottery, and you're just hoping to get a winner, even though it'd be a really rare chance. But they haven't had many impact players. And so, yeah, I mean, you could blame that. There's a lot that you can look at. And what the hell is Tyrese Martin? I don't know. Skills. It's a good question. I don't even know who it is.
Yeah, I think that if you look back at all the drafts, I love Bob Myers, but he did not have good drafts when they were winning championships. It was, they just got by with, thank God we have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and we'll go out in free agency and get huge big names like Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins, and that will be enough. And at one point in time, it was enough. I don't think it is anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, everything that they said today with their exit interviews, I mean, I understand what they're doing. Steph advocating for, you know, these next 2 years, it's going to be me, Draymond, and Jimmy. And Jimmy, same deal, saying I may want to be here longer past these 2 years. We'll see what happens. Draymond, all in favor of whatever they want to do. If they want to get a true center, he's cool with that. If they want him to remain as the 5, he'll keep doing that. One thing that was interesting, though, during these exit interviews was Steph Curry and Draymond Green were asked about Jonathan Kuminga. And both of them talked about him like, you know, he's definitely gone through a lot in his career. He's a young guy, and, you know, it's 4 years now, and they're very proud of him with what he's had to handle. But neither of them had ringing endorsements about him staying. Both of them were like, wherever he goes, whatever he does. Draymond was more like, you know, we'll see if he stays with the Warriors. Steph then never, you know, really, he never spoke that. He never said that. I think Steph is kind of tired of Kuminga. I think Draymond will never publicly say it. And none of them, like Steve, Steph, and Draymond will never come out and say this. But I don't know if you felt the same way, Steven, if you saw these press conferences. But to me, it was Steph and Draymond's opportunity to tell the whole world, we believe in Jonathan Kuminga. And they did not do that. I think that, you know, it wasn't even prompted by like, what do you think? They both asked, Anthony Slater both asked them, what do you think his future is? And they both acknowledged, we'll see if he's here. So I think people point the finger at Steve Kerr. I think there's evidence right there that both of those guys are not huge fans of Jonathan Kuminga.
They've said it's collective.
Yeah.
They've said it for years, at least for the last 3. Like, Lacob would come into 95.7 in the studio and say, look, we do get thoughts. Like, Draymond's in our ear about the draft all the time. Yeah. Steph Curry, too. And, you know, I know we're blaming Lacob for the whole Kuminga pick, but Draymond was the guy who also wanted Kuminga. He was pushing hard for Kuminga to be picked by the Warriors. So I do think they believe in him, but I think they're also realistic in knowing this is probably what's going to happen. I don't think they're disbelievers and non-believers, whatever way you want to put it. I don't think they're non-believers in Kuminga having potentially a good career. I just don't think they're believers that he can thrive with this team because it just hasn't worked.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked. And so, you know, I think I actually like Draymond's thing. I think people are making way too much of it. I do think they really like him. And I do think that that they believe he could thrive, but I think they understand that the time has kind of run its course. I mean, you don't give a guy a contract extension. You make him a restricted free agent. The guy who was meant to carry the torch for post Steph Curry. Yeah. I think they kind of knew the writing was on the old Golden State wall there. And he had these, you know, these dreams, these visions of being hung up with at least his banner being hung up in the practice rafters along with Draymond and Steph and Clay, and he'd be right there. It'd be like Kuminga, boom. Like he had visions of that. But, obviously it didn't work out, which is, I think he had like the mindset. I think he really did, but it just didn't work with the team, and it sucks. It sucks.
No, it does. It does, because there is a lot of potential with this player, but they're on a different schedule. And I think some fans don't understand that. But it's just Steph's going to dictate what this team is going to do. He's earned that right. So if they want to go all in on winning a championship and basically go the fuck them picks route and just try to win with these three older guys, then that's what they're going to do. It's a different mindset than, Bill Walsh's 49ers, when he could tell a year or two out from when you were going to be not the same player anymore. He was done with you. Joe Lacob, he doesn't have that mentality. He's not going to say goodbye to these players. He'll throw more money at Klay Thompson to stay because he loves them. I think that also is a problem with this organization. They hang on to these guys a little bit too long because we want to live in nostalgia from when this was 10 years ago and they won their first championship. But that's the route they're going. I will say also that they have to be in unison on this decision with Jonathan Kuminga. I do not want more, Anthony Slater articles if Joe Lacob's like, well, Steve at the end of the day is the decision maker along with Mike Dunleavy, and if they wanted to move on from Jonathan, that's their right. But I thought there was a lot of potential in the young guy. It sounds like to me there is a disconnect between Steve and Joe on how they view Kuminga. And Joe has said in the past that he would love to give him a contract. He talks glowingly about him to Anthony Slater and Marcus Thompson. I feel the same thing happened with James Wiseman, where Joe had a hard time trading him away, but at the end of the day, Steve just couldn't make it work anymore. And let's be real too. We talked about it when it happened. Bob Myers' exit interview from the Warriors as general manager, you could see clearly why he wanted to go, because Joe was annoying him. And I honestly think that's the same case with Steve Kerr with, going by his by the way, Warrior fans, if you hate Steve Kerr that much, hey, it's all good. There's just 1 year left on his contract. So I think that, will come into play of how much he wants to do this. I know he loves the team. I know he loves Steph. I know he loves Draymond at times. But, I think that there is kind of a disconnect between him and Joe Lacob, not to the point where it's contentious, but maybe Steve would just love to do something else.
I think this is going to get, to be honest, dude.
Yeah.
I know this is no one probably wants to really hear this, but once they are gone, it's going to get ugly.
Oh, I know.
It's going to get ugly. And unless this next coach is like a home run hire, I heard someone on the game earlier saying they think Mike Brown should be the next head coach. I'm like, what good do you think that would do?
Why do you say it like that?
I don't know. Like, why Mike Brown? Just because he has a connection with them? It's like, he barely made it work with the Kings. I love Mike Brown, but is that going to be really is that going to be the next hire?
Active head coach of the Golden State Warriors? Active coach?
What's that?
From when? Remember when he I mean, in hindsight, it wasn't funny at all. But remember when he was trying to park his car in the parking lot, and the cops pulled him over, and they were like, "Sir, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm the head coach of the team, active head coach of the Golden State Warriors."
Yeah. I just think that there's going to be so much of a dismissive attitude towards anyone who takes over post Kerr and post Steph. Like, if they end up trading Kuminga this year, it's going to be, well, we should have kept Kuminga if they're losing.
God,
you see what this team used to do? There's going to be a lot of, we should have appreciated Steve Kerr in real time. We might have taken him for granted. And I think a lot of people are going to regret this fire Steve Kerr stuff. I really do. And fans crave perfection. And I just don't think I think it's going to be anything but perfect over the next few years. I'm not going to say like over the next decade. That's way too long. But after Steph is done, Jimmy Butler and Steve Kerr, all of that aligns. Like, I think it's going to get a little ugly for the next 3 to 5 years for whoever's on board.
Oh, absolutely it will. Absolutely it will. They have not planned for life post Steph. They've tried to, but it has not panned out. And yeah, just get ready for Draymond Green, the head coach, and see how that goes, everybody.
Whew.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
By
You know
the
what?
way, the clock is ticking here. It looks like the Nuggets have forced a game 7 on the Thunder. So
Hell yeah.
game seven heading back to OKC.
Oh, I love it. Sweet. Love a game 7. And
Geez, man, the Nuggets just keep on playing these game 7s. How much
I
longer
know.
can they do this? You'd
And
think
I
those
think-
guys are the old guys too, but Jamal Murray's 28, Aaron Gordon's 29, and Jokic
oh, they're
is
much
30.
younger. They're much younger. And I think I got that right, Stephen. I think I said OKC in 7.
Yeah, my playoff picks were terrible. I'm fully expecting to
Well,
eat hot sauce this year or this go around.
you did get the Knicks right. We'll see tomorrow.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, they should.
God,
win. I mean,
that would be
they
so
really-
Knicks to go up 3-1. Jason Tatum's out, and then Jaylen Brown becomes like superhero.
Yeah,
Or Superman.
yeah, that'd be amazing.
All right. We'll see. We got a long Warriors offseason. Am I confident in their future? To be completely honest, no. I think that they'll be a good regular season team. They'll be in competition in the West, or contention, I should say. But it's going to be tough with them being this old. So, and also I will say this too. If Jonathan, I know that Shams Charania has said that he will have a big market, Jonathan Kuminga. If he doesn't, and the league comes back and tells him, we think you're a good player, but you're not a max player, is there any scenario where Jonathan Kuminga would be like, you know what? I guess I'll just come back here. I'll play on my restricted free agent deal, and we'll see where it goes. And he could be a good 6-man. If he's willing to take on that role, I would gladly accept him back. But I think it's kind of like Klay Thompson, where he feels so disrespected, his foot's already out. He's already like 1 foot out the door.
Yeah, but I think if no other team is willing to give him the contract that he wants, that he would have to swallow his pride a little bit and just, and really get back to being having this mindset. Okay, maybe I'm not a star player. Maybe my role right now is the 6th man. I don't like it'd take a lot, but he might have to do that. I do envision a scenario where it happens. Yeah, because a sign and trade, they say it'd be mutually beneficial for both parties, but the point of a sign and trade as well is that player usually can choose that destination. So if Kuminga, if it's not the team that he wants, if he doesn't want to go there, I can envision him going back to the Warriors. It's just a question of which teams are those that he wants to go to. But I still envision a scenario where he comes back. Yeah.
That could be on the table. I wouldn't be surprised also. I think Brooklyn's going all in to get Giannis, but I don't think Giannis has any desire to go to Brooklyn. So Brooklyn's the team that I keep thinking about with Kuminga, and then maybe you get Cam Johnson in return. That's what I would do. But we'll see. It's going to be a long offseason. We got plenty of time to talk about it.
Yep.
All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. Rock a new era. Is AJ Cruz still in the chat?
No, they left. As soon as you said that, they left.
I'm sure they did. You know what? Why is everyone just so opposed to not a lot going on right now? The Warriors season just ended. Can we talk a little NFL schedule? God forbid.
I haven't seen anything about it, so the floor is yours.
You have not looked at anything about the schedule.
No, the schedule releases are too long now. They're like each 5-minute videos. I thought the Titans schedule release video was very creative, but at this point, it's not even about the schedule. It's just about the videos. And the schedule, I didn't look at it at all. No.
Okay. Well, let me say about the NFL schedule release videos. I don't care. I really don't. Like,
of course you don't, because they're fun.
Yeah, but I just want to see the schedule. Like this is where you and I differ. Where it's like I don't care about the spectacle of it. Just give me the goddamn schedule. I don't even care about the leaks. You don't have to do that shit every single day. Just release the whole thing. All I want to see is all I want to do is look at the schedule. I don't need the pop and circumstance of the whole goddamn thing. I don't need like a goofy video where the Buffalo Bills are going to use AI to reveal the schedule and it's just Allen Iverson. I thought that was weird as hell. but kind of funny actually. The Raiders one I thought was done okay. There's amusing things in there. The best one by far was the Colts having Tyreek Hill get arrested in the cartoon form, and then Tyreek Hill, they took it down because they thought it was insensitive, and I get that. But then Tyreek Hill commented being like, "Why'd you guys take that down? I thought it was funny. If he doesn't get offended, then why should you guys get offended?"
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't really give a shit about the schedule release show, the videos, or even the shows, the 4-hour shows with Rich Eisen interviewing Jim Nantz and Al Michaels. I don't give a damn. Just give me the schedule. That's all I want.
Okay. And what about the schedule intrigues you?
I thought it was kind of weird, to be honest. There's a lot of divisional games week one. You got to open the season. I already talked about it last podcast, but Cowboys and Eagles, very cliche, but that's going to get ratings. Chargers Chiefs on YouTube. Why would the Chargers give up a home game? And I know they don't get a lot of fans at SoFi, but for all the home games you want, don't you want to like be home for the Chiefs? Don't you want to like take that gate in as far as like fans coming in to SoFi? But whatever. And again, maybe that's out of their hands. I think the NFL probably push for the Chiefs to go to Brazil. A lot of Chiefs games, and that could come with the territory of Mahomes being Mahomes and Taylor Swift showing up for Travis Kelce. They got 7 primetime games. But as far as the Niners, I was shocked with how mediocre their schedule is. I mean, how like everyone, like Colin Cowherd and my guy Middlecoff, are just like, this is the easiest schedule I've ever seen. They need to go to the playoffs and win, which they should. But they gave them 5 primetime games. So you didn't see this at all, Steven. You didn't see the Niners schedule?
I did not. No. I know it's like my job, but like my job is to cover
just
what's in front of me and not to cover a schedule that is months away.
I hear you. Like we're not going to play the win-loss game. I'm not doing that. But the Niners have 5 primetime games. Okay. So they go to LA week 5 to play the Rams on Thursday Night Football. All right, that's good. They play the Falcons at Levi's on Sunday Night Football. What? Why? Like Falcons, okay. I guess with Michael Penix, there's some intrigue there. I'll give you that one. Then before Thanksgiving, November 24th, they play the Carolina Panthers on Monday Night Football. And Christian McCaffrey going against his former team, but that's a Monday Night Football game? Niners, Panthers? Okay.
Panthers going to be better. Watch out.
Yeah, they could be. Then a couple weeks later, they play the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football in Indianapolis. That doesn't seem sexy to me either. And then week 17, Jones. I know. Then week 17, they're home against the Chicago Bears on Sunday Night Football. And Mike Tirico was on my pops today, and he was like, so, Tirico, tell me about what you think about the Niners coming to, or you coming to Levi's for little Bears-Niners week 17. And he goes, oh, Greg, you know, if those two teams are the way they were last year, we'll probably flex out of that game. He goes, oh, harsh.
That's the team I cover, Mike.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Mikey. But I found that just very weird. And the bye week for the 49ers is week 14, the latest the bye week they've ever had. Actually, I didn't know this, Steven. Matt Mayoka told me this. Did you know that bye weeks weren't a thing in the NFL until 1990? Besides that, people were just playing straight through.
Yeah, I knew that. Believe it or not.
Shit, I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's insane. So yeah, Niners have a late bye week. They have a very easy schedule, but 5 primetime games seems a little much. And I know the Niners are a big brand, but 5 primetime games for a team that went 6-11? I don't know about that.
Ratings, Derek. They probably get good ratings. The Niners are a really popular team.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, same reason why the Cowboys are opening up against the Eagles.
Yeah.
As far as the Raiders, they have 3 primetime games. They're going back to the old school days. Remember when it felt like every Jamarcus Russell game or Aaron Brooks game. Remember when the Raiders were on super late. Like it would be like a doubleheader Monday Night Football wise, and the Raiders. It used to be Raiders and Chargers. You know, there was that one game where Aaron Brooks got sacked like 9 times by like Sean Merriman every single play. The Raiders would always be that late night game when the season opened at like 7 o'clock Pacific, so 10 o'clock Eastern. No one would give a shit. The Raiders are going to be in that situation again for week 2 as the home debut of Pete Carroll going up against Jim Harbaugh. Week 2, Chargers at Raiders. We'll call it the What's Your Deal, Bro Bowl, as both guys back in the day went at each other when Pete was with USC and Jim was with Stanford. So that's a Monday Night Football game. They play the Broncos week 10 on Amazon Prime. Then the next week, they play the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. And besides that, that's all the nationally televised games for the Raiders. They have a week 8 bye, which is actually pretty perfect. I like that. They open the season at New England, and I think that's fitting because the two biggest veteran, like former head coaches getting jobs again were probably Pete Carroll with the Raiders and Mike Vrabel with the Patriots. So I think that's a good way to start the season. But yeah,
I think it's a good litmus test.
Yeah,
like if I'm giving you an actual evaluation of this stuff,
damn
like,
right
I think that it's a good litmus test for them. Like, you know, you go to the Niners and you go to a week 14 bye, like anything can happen up until that bye week. I don't even know. Like, I mean, I really don't know how to evaluate that. But if you're looking at like the first 7 games in this new era of Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, Ashton Jeanty, all that, you're really going to see what they're made of because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those games. Like, if you want to be considered like as a serious team, then you should be winning 4 of those games. And I mean, beating the Patriots, beating the Colts, beating the Titans, and beating the Bears as well. I still need to see the Bears to prove it, prove it. But and also I think that's going to be showing us whether Jaden Daniels is in a sophomore slump at that point. 3 weeks in. I mean, look, man, I wouldn't doubt that it's coming. Like CJ Stroud was amazing his rookie year, second year, not so much. Maybe a regression's coming there. But if they go into the bye week 4-3, I think the Raiders should be feeling pretty good. But if they go into the bye week 5-2, then obviously they'd be feeling a lot better. And maybe you could start taking this team seriously and thinking, oh, this is different. I'm getting a little more excited now that the videos have been coming out and you're seeing Geno in the silver and black and all that. I know he's a little on the older side too. But seeing Ashton Jeanty, all that, really excited.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to get carried away right now, but looking at the schedule and just, you know, what Pete's going to bring, I wouldn't be surprised if this team is kind of good. I'm not saying like playoff good or, you know, going to be dominant as a team, but a competitive team, a pretty good team this year. Well, we'll see what happens.
It's as confident as I've been in a long time.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that mainly because of Pete or Geno or a combination of both?
It's mostly because of Pete and Spy Tech.
Yeah.
Like Spy Tech, it seems like he's kind of up and coming. Pete Carroll's established. It just feels like they have the pieces around them. I don't know. There's just excitement brewing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be coming into his own a little bit more. Obviously, Jeanty and picking him up, going to have a little offensive firepower. I am concerned with the linebacker position, and I am concerned a little bit with the secondary. If I'm going to pinpoint my primary ones heading into the year, but yeah, they have some very winnable games regardless moving forward. So, yeah, man, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
No, I mean, they should be a solid team. I think they need to maybe get a little bit more wide receiver wise. I think right now they got Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and the 2 guys they drafted, Jack Besh and DeAndre Thornton, I think their names are.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that, you know, if you want to make a call to Keenan Allen, or wouldn't be a bad way to end his career if he's thinking about hanging it up soon. I would give a call to Amari Cooper if he wants to come back.
Yeah.
You just need one veteran wide receiver to help you out there. And also, Adam Schefter, I think, said this yesterday on the ESPN schedule release show. many teams are inquiring about Jalen Ramsey. It's not just the Rams that
That'd be
want.
perfect, wouldn't it?
I think
Ramsey and the Rams going back.
that would be perfect. But if I also think that it wouldn't be terrible if the Raiders just traded a 4th-round pick to get Jalen Ramsey, just to have some veteran presence in the secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that as soon as the trade request went down. I'm like, go get Ramsey. Shoot.
I would be down for that. As far as everything else with the schedule, I mean, pretty good games week 1. This is just me being a weird NFL fan, but Lions and Packers, really good game. Weird that game's on CBS though and not Fox. I guess Brady's not getting a game week 1, but that's just weird TV stuff, so I won't get too much into that. Ravens, and I see even you are puzzled by that, huh?
No, I'm actually looking up the A's and Dodgers box score.
Okay. A's won 1 game, right, in that series?
Yeah, but the Dodgers are up 13-2.
Oh, Jesus
In
Christ.
the top of the 4th inning.
And Tom Hanks went to the game last night talking shit about John Fisher.
Yes, he did.
I love Tom Hanks. Throw it deep, baby.
Yes. We'll see what happens on A's Cast post-game live.
Ravens Bills is pretty good for Sunday Night Football. Vikings Bears, and interesting week 1 matchup. Steven, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers go to the New York Jets. Now, why do you think they scheduled it that way, huh?
Maybe it's the Smashers.
Yeah, I know. We won't mention his name until he signs. That's fine with me. But interesting nationally televised games. They did put the Packers at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. I think we all could tell why they did that. The Thanksgiving games are pretty good this year. We got Packers at Lions, Chiefs at Cowboys, which will be probably maybe the highest rated NFL game of all time. When we got the Cowboys and the Chiefs on Thanksgiving, and then the Ravens play the Bengals, and then Christmas Day, if I could find what week this is, probably like 17 or something. I think I know the Broncos are playing the Chiefs, and the Cowboys are playing the Commanders. The Lions are playing the Vikings, and all those games are on streaming platforms: Netflix, and Amazon Prime. The Thursday Night Football schedule is a hell of a lot better this year. What seems to stand out is streaming platforms are actually getting better games than the networks right now, which is kind of telling of the times now.
Yeah, well, more money.
Exactly. All right, that's it for the schedule. See, painless, Steven, we're done.
Okay, there we go. I was like the dentist. It's not too bad.
Do you have anything else you want to get into before we get to Jackass of the Week and Pop Culture Catch-Up?
Yeah, real quick. Which is the dumber theory about the Earth? Because there's been a couple. Stars of Mac and Devin Go to High School, a.k.a. Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Is this recent? Because that movie's like pretty old, right?
No, the movie's old. I'm just saying this is recent. This is from this year. Because Wiz Khalifa came out with a new album. I think he's coming out with Cushion OJ 2, and Cushion OJ 1 is one of my favorite mixtapes of all time. Actually, it is my favorite mixtape of all time. It's so sick, so smooth. She never been. Yeah, that was terrible. But anyway, Wiz Khalifa on the Earth, and this was on the Joe Budden podcast.
I would say no.
Hang on. Let me start from the beginning so we get that. Hang on.
Is the Earth round?
I would say no.
What shape is it?
I just believe that we live on a flat plane. Yeah, like a huge flat plane. Yeah. It's only because I've traveled so much and I see like...
Did you ever get to the edge of the Earth?
Nah.
Okay.
It's not that. There's more.
Real quick, this guy on the left is really trolling him because he knows what he's saying is stupid. So
yeah,
those questions are hilarious.
I've seen clips of this podcast, and that guy's always kind of trolling. Sorry, I'm talking over the clip.
Was one thing before, and it's like spread out.
Yeah, so it's layered like a pastry.
I wouldn't say layered like a pastry. I would just say like if this rug was the world, we would probably be like over there. somewhere, and then there's just way
There's
more
other shit that we haven't discovered.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because when I travel, the routes that we take and how we do it, it's not possible to go up and down. You're just going straight.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So that's number one. All right.
Now you got soup.
So I got Snoop on the other one. So which is the dumber theory? You got Earth as a flat plane. And Snoop was on with these two dudes. I'm so glad they're actually talking to Snoop Dogg, because these two guys just do reaction to music videos, but their reactions are always hilarious. Dude on the right normally was super stoned when he was watching them, and he always had like these big bottles of juice with him. I don't know what made the videos so funny, but they always were hilarious. And them talking to Snoop Dogg about the shape of the Earth, because apparently this is a really popular topic.
You think the Earth flat or round?
I done went around this motherfucker a few times. I think this motherfucker a rectangle. I'm just getting real, nigga.
That's it. I'm thinking about the globe, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's that state that's all the way at the bottom? The state that's at the bottom, Alaska. So if I fly a plane down, I would have to be flying upside down.
But it's the equator. It's the something where they got where you go under. Is that the equator? Is that the word?
So we got Wiz Khalifa saying the Earth is just flat, a flat plane. And then you got Snoop Dogg saying it's rectangular.
It's Wiz Khalifa hands down, because he's being legitimate and Snoop Dogg's just fucking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snoop doesn't give a shit. He's just smoking. He's just high as shit. Now Wiz Khalifa probably is too, but he's like trying to sound stoner smart. Everybody's like, nah, dude, nah. Get that Kyrie Irving flat Earth shit out of here.
It's just the Earth is. I've been on a plane so many times. I've traveled to so many places. Yeah, have you been to space? Like other people?
Yeah, like Gayle King. Come on now.
Like Katy Perry? Come on, Wiz. You're no Katy Perry. Oh.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa hands down on that one.
Yeah, man.
All right.
It's just too much.
Two things I want to bring up real quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. You've been sending me clips of
the week, or is this a
no. But before the two, just real quick. I won't go too in depth on this. You've been sending me clips of Pablo Torre on his podcast, and he does great work trying to. I mean, his podcast is really fun. What's it called? Pablo Torre Finds Out.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie Nolan comes on the show, and he's been going in on Bill Belichick and the Jordan Hudson stuff, and I believe he had legitimate sources that told him that Jordan Hudson was banned from UNC. UNC came out with a statement saying that's not the case. But then Pablo Torre keeps going on with this and saying things like, I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick, I've heard from sources that Belichick could be fired before his first game at UNC. And I'm like, I highly doubt that. I really do. Like, I think he's doing his job and in investigating this, and I really don't know why so much. Because at this point, like, we saw the interview. It was weird. And she probably, has a say in what he does. But I think he's still going to coach this team. North Carolina, like, boosters and tickets and everything. It's all to see Bill Belichick and TV ratings. So I don't think there's a chance in hell that he's getting fired before this happens, just because it's a bad PR look with his girlfriend, being involved in things that probably she shouldn't be.
I think the reason he's reporting on it is because no one really cares, and he's just diving deeper and deeper into this.
But should we care those? Because I know the optics of it are weird, and she's much younger than him. But at the end of the day, like, he's just trying to be a football coach, and we can all judge him from a distance. But like, whatever, he can live his life.
But there's more than just him living his life, though. When she got in the way of that, you'd feel that she'd be getting in the way of football, her showing up to the facility. I think North Carolina's done a ton of damage control here with this. And if this wasn't a story, I think you know what, Torre might have even saved that football program with his reporting, because I guarantee you she'd be a lot more involved than people think. We're talking recruiting, all these different recruiting starting up in June.
You think she's a part of that?
Yeah.
I don't. Then Bill must have lost his mind. He must be a senile old man at this point if he's allowing that.
Do you see Bill? He's a different person.
Like I said, until I see her on the field during games, I'll think that everything's above board. But if that's the case where she's like literally, what was the terminology that V. Stiviano did for Donald Sterling? My right arm hand man.
My right arm man.
Yeah. What, like with the fugitive?
Yeah.
It was the one-armed right-armed man.
Yeah.
Until that is the case where she's like trying to get his attention, like pulling down the headset and being like, "I have a question, Bill." Whatever. Just it's fine to me. I really don't care about this anymore, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over it, but
yeah,
people are interested, man.
Okay. And then the other thing, Seth Wickersham, who does a fantastic job writing articles and writing books. He's doing an in-depth quarterback book coming out in September about just the process that quarterbacks, how they become greats. In it, Caleb Williams, I don't know if he said this himself or he got it from sources, but their whole thing about Caleb Williams talking about how he never wanted to go to Chicago in the first place. He was trying to talk to lawyers to see if he can get away from the draft. His father wanted him to get away from Chicago because that's where quarterbacks go to die. There was even talk about maybe him going to the USFL. And now it all sounds good. And Ben Johnson had an answer to this on Colin Cowherd today, being like, how do you make things better for Caleb Williams? And Caleb Williams wanted Ben Johnson to be his head coach. But if you're Caleb Williams, you haven't proved shit in the NFL yet. This is just your second season. Do you really want all this stuff coming out right now? I think it's way too soon to be this open about you not wanting to play for the Bears.
Well, this was before, though. This isn't now, right? Like the interview wasn't from like this year. It was before the draft.
I think you're just giving details about what he wanted to do in the past.
I think it was beforehand. I think it was before the draft he told Wickersham that. Not after the fact.
Well, even then, I don't think it's a good look.
Agreed. Why are you going to say that to anybody? But yeah, a lot of this happened before the 2024 draft. Like, I don't think I can connect with Shane Waldron, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That was before.
He shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, not a good look. You don't talk to an ESPN reporter about that sort of stuff.
No, I mean,
you know good and well that Wickersham's going to write about it. Wickersham's a damn good writer, man.
No, he is. And if I was Wickersham, I would have broke that story before the draft happened.
Yeah.
That would have made things a hell of a lot awkward for the Chicago Bears. But Caleb Williams will have to address this, I'm sure, at OTAs in a couple of weeks, and we'll go from there. All right, that's all I have to say about those stories. As far as my jackass of the week, do you have that clip of Austin Rivers that I sent you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So there was this whole report or article from Ramona Shelburne about the Denver Nuggets locker room, and in it she talks about how this has been well reported on, that a reason why Michael Malone was fired is because they didn't like the favoritism that Russell Westbrook had. And some people think he's an immature teammate, not a good teammate. And I guess some people on the Denver Nuggets talked about this, and Aaron Gordon called out the article and said it was bullshit. And part of it is a lot of Denver Nuggets players being anonymous in the article. And former Denver Nugget Austin Rivers took exception to this and went to social media to talk about it.
Hey, listen, man. Y'all killing me with this anonymous shit. Seriously. No more of that. I don't want any more people talking about they heard such and such about a player due to an anonymous source, or I heard this guy wants out, or he wants to be traded, he wants to be signed here, he's unhappy, or I heard that guy's not a pleasure to work around, says an anonymous source. Enough of the anonymous shit. If you're going to speak on a player's character if y'all going to come out here and talk about a player's personal, life and certain things about him, either say it with your chest and say that you feel this way, or if you're going to quote somebody else, say their damn name. I'm tired of the anonymous shit. Y'all over here talking about Russell Westbrook is immature, says an anonymous teammate of his own. Didn't say the teammate then. Who said that bullshit? It's so silly, man. Speak on it. Otherwise, I don't really want to hear it. I played with Russell. The last thing I would ever describe him as a teammate is immature. This guy's like the epitome of what a professional looks like. How he approaches his craft, how hard he works, how much energy and pride and passion he plays with every game. So if you're going to come out on national news or on national television, we got all these platforms, all these resources, all these podcasts, all these shows, all these network shows. There's millions of information now to the point where people don't even know what's true or not. If y'all going to speak on a player's name, any athlete's name, either say it with your chest, or if you're going to quote somebody else, say their damn name. No more anonymous stuff. An anonymous source says Russell Westbrook's immature. Man, give me a break. Y'all killing me with this shit. It's BS.
Okay. I mean, very nice house for Austin Rivers there.
That's the thing. Like, if you're going to do one of those videos, don't do it in front of your super nice pool after you just got out from taking a dip. Like, come on, man. It's really hard to feel bad for a report that says he's a bad teammate when you know you're all making millions of dollars and you're posting that on a Wednesday afternoon when everyone's working super hard.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, dude.
And I know Russell Westbrook gets a lot of shit, but it's kind of warranted at times. I mean, when there's smoke, there's fire. Like we've heard this a lot from him. But also, like, Austin Rivers is very young in the media game. I think he's got a podcast. He used to be on ESPN. That's when he started this whole thing about NBA players could play in the NFL and turn into a whole thing with NFL players. But as far as this, it's the same thing with the Shedeur Sanders stuff, with the anonymous sources talking about how he acted during pre-draft interviews. How reporters get their sources, how anybody feels like, however any reporter gets close with a coach or a general manager or a player, is sometimes you have to do it anonymously. That's how you gain that trust. And is it weak to not put your name on it? Yeah. But also, that's just kind of the game, man. Like,
that's literally, I'm not trying to come off as pompous here.
Yeah.
But that's journalism. That's what journalism is. You're not meant to use these. You're meant to show your sources. You're not supposed to stir the pot that much. But Ramona Shelburne wouldn't just write this article if she didn't feel like it was newsworthy. Like,
yes.
See, that's the thing, is they think they just write these things to get a rise out of people. No, they're trying to do their job and report on sports. Like, that's the whole point of the media. That's how this all goes around. What do you think happens politically? What do you think anonymous sources from the former White House staff are saying this about the former president? It's so they don't besmirch their name. Like, it's all part of it. Like, that's what journalism is. And that's about as ethical as she could. That's an ethical thing that Ramon is doing, even though you think it's not. Put your name on it. Like, that's not how it works, dude. It's never how it's worked.
No, definitely.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Exactly. Like, what if that anonymous source is probably, what if it's Jokic? You really want that headline out there? Jokic is calling out Russell Westbrook? Right. It's probably better that way. I understand what he's saying, like man to man, teammate to teammate. Be honest. But also, you cannot blame your teammate. Don't blame Ramona Shelburne for writing this article.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So that was it for me. Just Austin Rivers,
jackass.
You're earlier in your media career. Watch, as time goes on, you'll understand why sometimes you have to have the anonymous source thing.
So mine, I actually pushed back on it because as I had this idea going into it, and then I kind of realized as I was pulling this up, I don't want to label someone's mom as a jackass in the league. Okay. But Tari Eason's mom posting like a celebratory tweet about how the Warriors got eliminated from the Timberwolves.
Oh, that's lame.
Using 4 pictures of Steph while Steph is sitting on the bench, draped in a towel in uniform, even though he didn't play for what was it, 5 games? We had 4 going 4, 16, 17, 18 quarters. He didn't play 18 quarters of basketball, and she still posted pictures of Steph. And she also deleted it. So you for sure know Tari gave her a call and said, Mom, come on, what are you doing? Mom, embarrassing me. Anyway.
No, you know what? If we were going to call out Tyrese Halliburton's father for being a jackass, I think it's only fair that we say Tari Easton's mom acted like a jackass.
Okay. Well, then that's yes. Okay. But I don't ever want to say that about someone's mom. That's someone's
I know.
And so, I want to be respectful to all. But the other one for me, just whoever these decision makers at Warner Brothers with HBO.
Yep.
Make a decision, man. Do you want Max? Do you want HBO Max? Because now you're back to HBO Max. It's confusing for everybody. Streaming doesn't make sense. Like, there's just so much going on with premium pluses, and you got to have this subscription if you want to do this. If you have to have this subscription, if you want to do that. Even Netflix has locked out some movies just because you don't have the appropriate subscription. And HBO Max has just been changing their name time after time, thinking people are going to love it even more. They're going to flock to it now that it's called Max. No, I don't care. Just give me HBO, give me good television, and I'll watch your stuff. You shouldn't have changed it in the first place. It should still be HBO. It's stupid. So you're my jackass of the week. You think a guy named Max is the one doing this?
Maybe.
Well, you're going to call this Max. And everyone at the table.
Maximilian.
Isn't that your name? The hell? No.
Yeah, this was the perfect segue to pop culture catch-up because I was going to bring this up. Stupid. This is stupid as hell. Like, it went from HBO Now to HBO Go to HBO Max to just Max. And I remember Conan doing his hot ones, and he was like, "Yeah, my new show, Conan Must Go, is coming out to Max." That really rolls off the tongue. So he was shitting on it, and we all thought it was stupid because the whole point of it was we offer more things than just HBO, but HBO is your biggest thing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you advertise that?
The returning the brand into HBO Max will further drive the service forward and amplify the uniqueness that subscribers can expect from the service. The powerful growth we have seen in our global streaming service is built around the quality of our programming. Today, we are bringing back HBO, the brand that represents the highest quality in media, to further accelerate that growth in years ahead. And what that is saying to me, everyone was confused. No one was watching these products. We just need to get back to HBO because I think a lot of people tuned out after they realized HBO wasn't in the title. And really, everyone just wants to watch Sopranos. Everyone just wants to watch 6 Feet Under. Everyone just wants to watch Entourage, The Wire, you name it. It's all HBO with that. Like, I'm not going on there so I can watch the Discovery Channel. Sorry.
Exactly.
Except for Planet Earth when they put it on there. Love me some Planet Earth.
Interesting you went 6 feet under and not like a bigger one like Game of Thrones.
I was trying to go the earlier ones,
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, neither have I. I've heard interesting things. People say it's a solid show.
Great ending, unlike Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones would have been a good one.
Yeah. As far as pop culture catch up, I haven't watched anything lately. The Conan show is back. Conan Must Go. I highly recommend it. If you haven't watched that on HBO Max now, Conan just, fucking.
I love it. Just crap all over HBO Max, and now let's promote a show that's on that platform. Hell yeah.
just the decision makers at HBO Max don't know what the fuck they're doing with what they're calling their streaming platform, but they have good shit on there. So I highly recommend Conan Must Go. I think a year ago you guys heard me talk about it. It's hilarious. And this last one, the one that just came out last week, he goes to Spain and he hangs out with Javier Bardem, and it's pretty funny.
I really need to watch that. Still haven't.
Oh, the first season, dude. I haven't laughed as hard at something like that, like just out loud, in a long time. This new season's kind of edited weird, but first season, I was laughing my ass off. It's great.
All right, well, I'll check it out for sure.
All right.
I haven't watched anything really. I've watched The Studio. Watched the first episode of that, which was really good.
Yeah.
Haven't had much time, to be honest.
All right, that's fair.
Watch anything. Although Netflix has this series of docs called Turning Point, and they go through biggest moments in history. And they just came out with one on the Vietnam War, so I'm entrenched in that one right now.
Nice,
very cheerful stuff. Also, Derek, I got another greatest moment in presidential speeches if you want to hear it.
Sure, why not?
Because Mr. Trump made his way to Saudi Arabia and has just been giving us a gem after gem of greatest moments in presidential speeches. Shout out to David Letterman. But have you heard we're no longer using the term groceries, apparently?
Oh, I hold on, sorry. I referenced this a while ago. Is this new?
This is new. This is from yesterday.
Okay,
earlier this morning.
He's saying this a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's jobs, because to me the most important jobs. I want jobs, and we have costs are way down. Groceries, where they have a term grocery. It's an old term, but it means basically what you're buying in food. It's a pretty accurate term, but it's an old-fashioned sound. But groceries are down, costs are down, eggs are down. They were first week they were hitting me with eggs were up 200%, and now they're down to a number that is amazing. We're down 97, 98% from where they were. And everybody, they said, you won't have eggs for Easter. Well, we had everybody had eggs for Easter at a very reasonable price. At the White House, we had our little Easter egg roll, and we had hundreds of thousands of eggs purchased. They said, you have to go out and buy plastic eggs. That didn't work out.
Not as funny as the Fat Shop, but what else are we to call them? The groceries or?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. My favorite tweet of the day, which I retweeted or reposted, whatever you call it. The guy responded to it saying, never heard of it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm about to go food shopping at the food store.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Groceries, outdated
It's an outdated term. We don't call it anymore. We don't call it groceries.
There is 0% chance that man has ever gone grocery shopping in his life. And why would he? If I had as much money as he had, I wouldn't do any grocery shopping either.
You know, something that me and Copes came across that was actually kind of fun to do is you do an Obama impression, but you say Trump things. So you do the Obama voice, and you're like, I have a friend, good friend of mine. Yeah, he's a multimillionaire, funny, or big, rich guy, lots of money. Big fat guy, took the fat shot. Just sounds different.
It's really good.
Groceries, old dated term. Don't use it anymore.
Sharks. You see them out in the water. What are you going to do? You going to go after the sharks? Or you going to, let the boat sink? You're not going to let the boat sink.
Yep.
I don't know at MIT.
You know, there's Hillary over there. She's a nasty woman. All right. On that note, everybody, we've been doing these podcasts pretty frequently after Warriors playoff games, and the Warriors season has come to an end. So we're going to take a little time off. Me and Steven and Jesse and all of our friends are going to gather for the Oakland Greek Festival this weekend. So no weekend shows. Everybody enjoy, your weekends. Have fun. Me and Steven will be back next Wednesday, and that's when we'll do the next show. And we got some things lined up. We'll obviously talk about the Warriors offseason, but I want to get more guests on. And, we'll let you know when we I don't like promote, like what I'm wanting to stop doing is promoting. We're going to have these people on when it's not confirmed yet. So when the interviews are actually confirmed, I will promote them. But that's in the works. So, we're going to take a little time off. No show this weekend, but we will be back on Wednesday. For everybody in the chat, to the nicest guy in all of YouTube chat history, Otis Bird is the word. What up, Yoda? What up, Yotis? Otis. Jesse calling out Steven, saying Jesus fucking Christ twice here. We got the skills report. We got who else in here? A lot of skills. Rockin' New Era, Ernie 1. AJ Cruz was in here for a little bit of time. Pigs 76. I want to say Pat H was here, and I hope to see you at the patio tomorrow, Pat H, for A's and Giants. That's going to be weird for me tomorrow. All right, everybody. We will see you on Wednesday. Steven, say what you always say.
Yeah, so the thing I was laughing at earlier, a Guru listed his top 5 R&B singers, and R. Kelly was number 1. That's just our opinion, man.